Love to fly upward toward the endless heavens, to rend 100 veils at every moment. At the first breath, to give up life. At the final step, to go without feet. To see the world as a dream and not as it appears. I said, "Oh heart, what a blessing it is to join the circle of lovers, to see beyond sight, to know the secrets within every breath."
چنان مستم من امروز که از چنبر برون جستم من امروز. چنان چیزی که در خاطر نیاید، چنان استم من امروز. به جان با آسمان عشق رفتم، به صورت گردرین پستم من امروز. Friends, we have a dear guest today, Ruth Raziel, a leader in the Sufi order, a teacher, a poet, and a great lover of Rumi. Ruth, you're very welcome to our program. One question that many people have, especially the ones they are not familiar with Sufism. What is Sufism? Or who is a Sufi?
Well, there are many ways of understanding what Sufism is. To some it's a religion, to others it's a philosophy, and to yet another group that I belong to, it's a mystic path, a path of mysticism. Those who are seeking to understand religion more say that it's a religion, but in truth it is all the world's great religions. It carries with it the spirit of Islam, but in addition it has within it the learning and the understandings of other great religions too. Scholars have said that it is based on the teachings of the Bnei Israel, that is the Quran, the New Testament and the Old Testament. Others point out that its origins may very well be in ancient Egypt, where the early esoteric groupings of seekers were to be found. But the truth is, and I believe, that the origins are really lost in the sands of time. And perhaps it doesn't matter so much where it began. In the Western world, people always want to know where things began and what happened after that. But I think that the Sufis live for today. They endeavor, I would say, if I can generalize at all, and that's maybe suspect, I would say that Sufis are seeking to understand all that identifies every person as part of one unity. So whatever you come from, whoever you are, whatever your longing is, the answer that we find is in seeking a unity in all things. And the great Sufi master Inayat Khan, he would say that the most important thing is to seek to fulfill your deeply held desire that you have during your lifetime, because that deeply held desire is a part of what your soul is wishing to reveal. But okay, how do you do that? One of his other aspirations was to bring together the Eastern world with the Western world, to come to understand that there are no real distinctions or differences in the nature of human beings which cut off one grouping of humans from another grouping. In earlier years, when Sufism came to the Western world, Hazrat Inayat Khan brought Sufism to the Western world from the East in 1910. And he found many people who were used to thinking of religions as it were, in boxes with their own dogma and beliefs and systems and so on. He tried to show people, to teach people that it's not necessary to think of yourself as separate from other people. Yes, Sufism carries the spirit of Islam, but the truth is that within all the holy scriptures of the main religions of the world, there is the same truth.
Sure.
And that same truth is what we try to learn about and try to bring into our daily lives.
Well, from our tradition, Sufism is a way of life. It comes from the saying of the Prophet that whoever wants to know God must know him or herself first. Because we are limited being, as a limited being, to know something infinite and so vast, it is impossible. Therefore, in order to become Sufi, the journey starts from knowing yourself. And once you acquire that knowledge of yourself, you know your own limitation and you know your own strength, or as they say in Quran, it says, once you flourish all of your potential, then you can know God. This is the beginning of the journey. And obviously, the reason we call this program Sufism, the essence of Islam, it doesn't mean that mysticism is not the essence of other religion that we know of. Because somebody says, I'm a Muslim, also they recognize that they are from the tradition of Moses, they are from the tradition of Jesus and Prophet Muhammad. So it comes with the law of Shariat, and it comes with the grace of Jesus. And mysticism is from that domain that obviously allows one to develop and flourish all the potential. And obviously with Quran comes the unity of being, that wherever you look, you see the face of Allah. Whoever you look is a manifestation of God. So there is nobody or nothing on earth that is not from that manifestation. So this is basically where obviously there is some emphasis that, but at the end of the day, we all belong to the same thing, coming from the same source, and hopefully we go back to the same thing. You talk very beautifully, Ruth. How long ago were you, or did you come to know Sufism?
Well, it must have been over 30 years ago.
But you look so young.
Yes, thank you, thank you. It was in Toronto. I used to live in Toronto, and my beginnings were mystical in themselves. And it happened like this. One day I found myself standing in the street looking at a house. And it was very unclear to me what I was doing there, or why I had come to that place. But there was something about that house that was fascinating me, was drawing me, and somehow I felt that maybe I should go and knock on the door. But I didn't really know why. Eventually I summed up the courage necessary to do that. I knocked on the door was flung open, and there was a group of people with wide smiles and ready hugs, which I avoided because I had no idea what was going on there. So I entered with much trepidation and spent the rest of the evening sitting in a corner, listening to beautiful words being read, to very intriguing circle dances where sacred phrases were being called out, where there was a feeling of great love in the room, and I just had not known such a thing. At that time, I was a very junior newspaper reporter on a local newspaper, and I was used to assessing situations rather differently. But not long after that, I didn't go back there, I found it very overwhelming, but not long after that, some months later, I did meet Pir Vilayat Khan, the son of Hazrat Inayat Khan, who brought Sufism to the West in 1910, and then my life in Sufism took a very big leap.
So Hazrat Inayat Khan came to Western world around 1910.
Yes.
And his son, Hazrat Vilayat Khan?
His son, Pir Vilayat Khan, then followed his work after his father died. His father died, Hazrat Inayat Khan died when he was only 45. He had married an American woman who was related to the Theosophists. Mary Baker Eddy, I think, was the one who had been an antecedent of hers. And so already in his home life, there was a mixture of East and West that was a dominant theme when he came to the West to teach. And so I joined the local Sufi group, and I can remember thinking back in those days, it's really a joy. I was so excited about the Sufi way that I remember I used to run down the street in order to get to the classes very early, and my life became a very exciting search for more and more wisdom.
Hazrat Inayat Khan was a great musician.
Oh yes, yeah, he was, I think, one of the two of the greatest musicians in India. Inayat Khan was born in Baroda in India, and he played the veena in his mature years, and was in much demand by the Indian princes to come and play at their courts, and so. But of course, he had, although he came from a Muslim family, he, as a young man, had sought to understand also the way of Vedanta. And so the roots were set for his teaching later. When he came to the West, his teacher in India had sent him to the West to bring Sufism here. And he thought that meant music. So he came with his brothers and began teaching through concerts. Of course, in the West, people hadn't heard such music, and of course the story is told of how they would sit listening to the tuning of these ancient instruments. Of course, it took a long time, and even an hour sometimes.
Yes.
Yes. And then they would leave the concert hall after 1 hour because they thought that was the concert. And so, you know, there was a lot. The Inayat Khan and his brothers were regarded as very strange, esoteric people. And nowadays, of course, Sufism has spread so much, and thanks in large part to the translation of Jalaluddin Rumi's works into English.
Well, if today somebody enters the country with a long beard and a long hair and a long clothing and carrying one of those kashkul, of course, they will never let him in.
Well,
گفته خود دل شادم بنده عشقم و از هر دو جهان آزادم.
فاش میگویم و از گفته خود دلشادم، بنده عشقم و از هر دو جهان آزادم. طایر گلشن و قدسم، چه دهم شرح فراغ که در این دامگه حادثه چون افتادم. من ملک بودم و فردوس بر این جایم بود، آدم آورد در این دیر خراب آبادم.
تا شدم حلقه به گوشه در میخانه عشق، هر دم آید غمی از نو به مبارک بادم. من ملک بودم و فردوس بری جایم بود، آدم آورد در این دیر خراب آبادم. آدم آورد در این دیر خراب آبادم.
کوکب بخت مرا هیچ منجم نشناخت، یارب از مادر گیتی به چه طالع زادم. تا شدم حلقه به گوش در میخانه عشق، هر دم آید غمی از نو به مبارک بادم.
یارب از مادر گیتی به چه طالع زادم. لا 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 گر خورد خون دلم مرد مکه دیده سزا، که چرا دل به جگر گوشه مردم دادم. کوکب بخت مرا هیچ منجم نشنا، یارب از مادر گیتی به چه طالع زادم، به چه طالع زادم.
پاک کن چهره حافظ به سر زلف ز اشک، ورنه این سیل دمادم ببرد بنیادم.
فاش میگویم و از گفته خود دل شدم، بنده عشقم و از هر دو جهان آزادم. تا شدم حلقه به گوشه در میخانه عشق، هر دم آید غمی از نو به مبارک بادم. من ملک بودم و فردوس بری جایم بود، آدم آورد در این دیر خراب آبادم. آدم آورد در این دیر خراب آبادم. کوکب بخت مرا هیچ منجم نشنا، یارب از مادر گیتی به چه طالع زادم، به چه طالع زادم. لا 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 لا